When 300 hit theaters in 2006, it didn't look like anything audiences had seen before. The movie was dark yet bright, violent yet artistic, and historically inspired yet completely surreal. It mixed comic book visuals with stylized slow-motion action, creating a world that felt like a myth brought to life. But the real weirdness wasn't only on the screen. The production itself was full of bizarre techniques, intense physical demands, strange director rules, and digital tricks that pushed filmmaking to the edge. What seems like a straightforward epic about brave Spartans hiding behind shields was secretly a movie built out of blue screens, insane workouts, underwater filming, and props that injured actors. Here are 15 fully extended weird facts about how 300 was made. 1. Almost no real locations were used. At all, the entire movie was shot inside a giant warehouse filled with blue screens. They didn't build forests, mountains, oceans, or even real caves. The ground was real dirt, a few rocks, and sometimes a wooden platform. That's it. This meant the actors had to imagine everything: cliffs, giant armies, storms, palaces, and battlefields. Many actors said filming felt like they were trapped inside a video game with zero textures. Loaded 2. The actors' abs were real. But the lighting was a cheat code. The cast trained brutally. But the famous 300 ABs came from a specific lighting method: overhead lights that created deep, thick shadows between every muscle. Without that lighting, the abs looked normal. With the lighting, they looked carved out of stone. One crew member joked that the lights made everyone look angry, ripped, and dehydrated. 3. Gerard Butler trained until his body gave up to become Leonidas. Butler followed a workout so extreme that trainers warned him it wasn't sustainable for a human body. He trained up to 6 hours every day, weightlifting, CrossFit-style circuits, sword drills, sprinting, and shield training. He pushed himself so far, he tore muscle fibers and couldn't stand properly on some mornings. Butler later said, "I gave more to this movie than I had in me." 4. The Persian army was one big digital copy. The production had fewer than 600 extras, yet the film shows armies of hundreds of thousands. Instead of hiring more people, the VFX team copied and pasted the same extras repeatedly, creating huge formations that all moved the same way. If you pause the movie carefully, you can find repeating soldiers in different spots. 5. Xerxes was digitally stretched to look like a supernatural giant. Rigo Santoro is tall, but the movie wanted Xerxes to look like an inhuman god. So the effects crew digitally stretched his legs, torso, neck, and even his head. They also smoothed his skin until it had a metallic glow. The actor joked that he looked like a giant, moisturized monster. 6. Many Spartan costumes were held together with glue. The leather armor pieces were so small and so tight that stitching didn't work. Sweat made the pieces fall apart constantly. Wardrobe workers carried glue guns everywhere because straps, belts, and capes popped off every few minutes. Fight scenes were delayed because someone's costume always broke. 7. The Oracle scene was filmed completely underwater to make the Oracle look like she floated in slow motion. The actress was filmed underwater in a giant tank. Her hair, clothes, and movements flowed naturally, and then the footage was layered into a digitally created temple. The team said it took days to get just a few seconds right. 8. The Spartan diet was mostly meat, water, and misery to maintain the shredded look. The cast ate extremely low-carb meals. They avoided bread, salt, dairy, and even fruit. Their meals were mostly meat, vegetables, and gallons of water. One actor said he felt constantly hungry, constantly sore, constantly flexed. 9. The CG wolf scene was fake, but the cold was real. The young actor facing the wolf was freezing. The winds were real, the ground was cold, and the snow machines blasted him non-stop. But the wolf wasn't there. He stared at a green tennis ball attached to a stick while shivering in real Frostpoint 1.0. The Immortals. Masks made people pass out. The Immortals wore heavy metal masks that trapped heat and blocked airflow. During intense scene rehearsals, stunt performers fainted because they couldn't breathe. They had to keep removing the masks between every take to cool down. 11. The entire movie was repainted digitally after filming. Almost every frame went through extreme color grading. The sky was recolored. Blood was recolored. Shadows were reshaped. Even sweat was enhanced. The cinematographer said the real footage looked like a student film. The grading turned it into 312. The famous "This is Sparta" kick sound used raw meat. Foley artists wanted the kick to sound brutal, so they slammed bags of raw meat onto a concrete slab. They also punched slabs of beef to create that deep chest impact thud. The combination became the iconic sound of Leonidas' leg sending the messenger flying. 13. Xerxes. Jewelry was painfully real and extremely heavy. The actor wore giant metal chains and huge piercings that pulled against his skin. After long shooting days, his shoulders were red and bruised. Removing the jewelry became a daily, 20-minute process because it got tangled in prosthetics. 14. The spears got sharper the more they used them. The prop spears were supposed to be blunt, but constant sanding to repair damage made the tips sharper. Actors constantly got poked, stabbed, and scratched. One stunt performer said, "A spear to the ribs was just part of the day." 15. Zack Snyder told actors not to smile. Snyder wanted the Spartans to look like warriors who lived for battle. He told the cast, "No smiling. Not on set. Not in costume. Not in the background." He wanted them to hold an intimidating energy all day, every day. Even when cameras weren't rolling, actors stayed serious. The finished 300 looks powerful and mythic. But behind the scenes, everything was extreme. The workouts, the diets, the lighting, the costumes, and the digital effects. It wasn't just a movie shoot. It was almost like a survival challenge mixed with an experimental art project. Every frame is the result of intense physical pain, computer magic, and strange production choices that turned a simple historical story into a legendary cinematic style.